different kind of propagation techniques. So basically, when in biology we categorize them in two like methods. First is vegetative or the asexual method, and another is sexual method. Sexual method means when you like grow a new plant from seed. So seed is actually comes with the sexual method, where the pollen grains and the like the ovules like they get pollinated, and they produce a seed, and then from that seed you grow. So it's another method where you grow from seed. Whereas the most common method, which for house plants or the fancy ornamental plants are used, like method of propagation which is commonly used, is the asexual method, where you can you do by vegetative method. So how do we propagate vegetatively? So you can vegetatively propagate in different methods, either by cutting, either by division. So division method is also very famous, whereas you can do in different methods in water also, and they are in water and in stem cuttings, in like different kind of cuttings, how these are done. So firstly, I would say like my like favorite one is like water propagation. And for water propagation we generally take cuttings. So how do we take cutting? So in order to take any plants cutting, we have to see, like for example, like I have asked people to like bring money plant, so that I can show them and they can see with their own like sample as an example. So this is a money plant cutting I have, and it's been in water for some time, and this is the root which it grew entirely in the water. So this is the root size. And yes, so this is the money plant cutting I have, and you can see like there are nodes. So nodes are the the swollen part, like our joints. So our finger joints have this swollen part, and these swollen parts are also present over the like the cutting, like the stem. So from these nodes, either a new leaf will grow or a new root will grow. So for some plants, like money plants or plants like money plant, they generally, like grow aerial roots from the nodes, and they are very easy to be grown in water. So like, like you just grab a cutting with, like in water, there should be more than 2 to 3 nodes. Okay. So when you, like submerge this node in water, these aerial nodes will start growing into water roots. So these are water roots, and water roots are generally different from, like the soil root, because soil roots are, like very hard, and because soil roots grow in a substance which is very hard, they have to push the soil and make space for them. So those roots would be very hard, a bit dark in color and thick. Whereas water roots are like whitish in color, very like fragile, and they would be having number of like these kind of separations, like there are multiple roots growing from the single root. So the surface area would be more to like absorb the water, and these roots also have this hairy kind of growth in them. So these roots are basically different from the soil root. And water propagation is one of my favorite for another reason, because this is most foolproof method, where you are not sure about like it will grow or not. So if you try with water propagation, what happens, you can check if the root is growing or not. And a lot of time plants do respond very well in water, and it might not be responding that well in soil. So a lot of time, even when I'm not sure about like should I put this in soil or not, I just like stick it in water, and within water it will start like having roots. But in water propagation, we have to keep few things in mind. So I'll cover the water propagation, but firstly I'll cover how to take the cutting. So for any plant, you can have cuttings in multiple you know parts of the body of the plant. So this is from the tip of the plant. So here, like you see this new growth. So these new leaves are growing from the end of the stem, and that's why this is the tip of the plant is always having the new growth hormones, and it will push the growth. So this is the most uh, good part of the plant to take, where you have the tip of the plant and few nodes, but you can also get plant cuttings which are not having tips. So for example, you took a long stem. So you collected a long stem, like a long size of money plant. You chop it on every node. And for example, this plant was having a long stem, and like I have its mother plant in my balcony. It's hanging and it's very large. So I enjoy gifting plants, and people do love this plant because these leaves are very cute. So people do ask me definitely for this plant. So what I did, I don't wait for the tip, because a plant would have selected number of tips only, and you can have growth from every node. So I don't wait for the tips. I just do one thing, is like, so this is the root. This is the root. And I'll take different nodes. So for example, I'll separate it. Like they have been growing in the same water together, and all the roots are very much, like hugging each other. I'll separate one without damaging the roots. So for example, we have this node. So see, there are node cuttings. So I had a long stem, I chopped it, and I made sure like every cutting has one node, and from node roots will grow, shoot will grow. So from one node, like you can see, there is only one node. I chopped it and I dipped the node in water. I have the roots growing, I have the leaves growing. So this is like again a stem cutting, where either you can if you are privileged enough, you can take a tip of the cutting, or you can always have the the nodes chopped together and put it in water, and this will grow. So this is when you have a stem. So for stem cutting, when you have soft stem, like plants like money plant, or like philodendron, or like this is a philodendron, and this is philodendron lemon and lime. So you can see the color. So again, this plant's mother plant is in my balcony, and I chop it off very often, and I have another cutting of it. So this is the another cutting.